We've reached the end of 2018. Can you believe it? And now a new year is just around the corner. But for this closing of the year divine service, we have the Psalm 126 as basis for our word. And the Psalm is about restoration and new beginnings. So our divine service is entitled, God Does Great Things. And our Bible verse is Psalm 126 verses 3. The Lord has done great things for us, and we are glad. So like I said, this is a psalm of new beginnings, a psalm that pleads for restoration. It's a bit like, imagine if your great-grandfather was kicked out of his house, and now 2 or 3 generations later, you as the grandchildren, you've been allowed to come back to this house, and when you enter it, you can't believe it. It's like you're there, you've waited for this your whole life, you've heard of this house, finally you are there, and it's like you are dreaming, you can't believe it. But now the hard work begins, because this house is dirty, you have to clean it up, you have to unpack the boxes, and it's hard work and slogging that now waits for you. So this is something that's also as an analogy for the psalm. This dates to after the time of the exile. It celebrates the return from exile, roughly from 538 BC. People started returning to Jerusalem and the surrounding environments. And so we may be speaking of the time of Ezra and Nehemiah. People have returned to their land, but so it's unbelievable, but a lot of hard work waits, because the temple must be rebuilt. The land for the crops is a mess. It's become hard, it hasn't been cultivated, etc. So now everything must start anew again. So this is a psalm of restoration, of new beginnings, but it also requires hard work. This psalm also forms part of the Great Hallel, and that is Psalms 120 to 136. And these psalms were also performed on pilgrimage. And the psalm is also called a Song of Ascents. So it probably refers to as the pilgrims, they traveled towards Jerusalem, and symbolically Zion or the temple was up on a hill. They would perform these psalms or the Song of Ascents psalms also as they traveled or journeyed to Jerusalem. But now our psalm, Psalm 126, it consists of 3 main portions. It's verses 1 to 3, that's a praise for the return, the return from exile. And then in verses 4, there's this petition, this prayer for complete restoration. And then verses 5 to 6 is this prospect, this anticipation for future richness. So these exiles have returned now, and this is what they say. When the Lord brought back the captivity of Zion, in other words, those who were captive in Babylon, when they were returned to Zion, that's what it refers to. We were like those who dream. In other words, they couldn't believe it, that they were back. They were back in their homeland. It was like a dream. It was unbelievable. It's something that they waited for, but now it's finally happened. Then our mouth was filled with laughter, and our tongue with singing. Then they said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us, and we are glad. This is praise for return. They finally come back now to their land. And now verses 4. This is a prayer, a petition. Bring back our captivity, O Lord, as the streams in the south. In other words, what this refers to is those who are still in exile. Bring them back. Those who are still in Babylon or that part of the world. And it says, as the streams in the south. It refers to the southern desert, the Negev. The Negev, it's a dry, arid place, but when it rained, then water would flow from the mountains, etc., and then there would be these flash floods. The streams will become or the dry riverbed, there will be this flash flood, this torrent of water that flows in the desert. And this is what this prayer is about. It's saying, bring back the exiles, like this torrent, this wild river, this strong stream. Let the exiles come back in a similar manner, like the strong stream. So bring back our captivity, O Lord, as the streams in the south. In other words, this torrent that when it happens through rain and this water comes flushing and gushing through the desert. And now it also speaks of the present, the toil, the hard work that waits for them. Because they've returned to their land, but now the slogging begins. The land is not good. And things must be, not just the farming, the agriculture must be rebuilt. Also, the Jewish institutions, the temple, their way of life, everything must be rebuilt. So this language here is also a metaphor for everything to be renewed. It says, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. So this is now hard work, it's slogging, it's difficult, but they will reap in joy. He who continually goes forth weeping, bearing seed for the sowing, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. So here is a promise that this restoration will come, the blessing will come, this abundance of future harvest will come. Also the restoration of the Jewish people and the temple and the land and the whole institution, etc. It will come. But for now, there's tears and there's slogging and it's difficulty. So push through it. Do not give up. This time of blessing will come, but for now it demands faith and trust. Sow the seed, even if it's done in tears. But the reaping, it will be done with joy. So, this is a psalm about restoration, pleading for restoration, pleading for the exiles to return, to come back, for the restoration of the Jewish people, etc., for the harvests, etc. And of course it anticipates this, it looks forward to hard work now, done in tears. It will be rewarded with a rich harvest in the future. So thank you for joining me. Also, thank you for your support throughout this year. I trust and I hope that these programs will also serve as a blessing to you. But also, I would like to take this opportunity to wish you a blessed and a happy new year, a blessed 2019. And I look forward to meeting you again next year.